like a forgery, a foreign art. If you look real close, you can tell them apart. You're like confetti falling to the floor. One big bang, then there ain't no more. Been there before, left wanting more, baby. What?
So Tahlsound,
Yeah.
I love Tahlsound because you all are bringing local music here to Lexington and highlighting the local community in order to do so. Some people are like, why Tahlsound? I know the answer because we're in the Southland neighborhood,
Yeah.
but why Tahlsound?
So what it is, it's an anagram of Southland. So if you take all the letters of Southland and you mix them up and, you know, mix them around, a lot of people don't catch that. Even when I say anagram of Southland, we actually had a graphic designer.
We got a nice video that like shows the literally you're serving our
And like, look, this is what it is.
Yeah, so when it comes to like the local community and local musicians, how did you all get started with this festival? Festivals.
Yeah, well, it was an idea that started years before the first actual Tahlsound, with a lot of the same people. And it was before a lot of the World Equestrian Games had come through and a lot of the rules changed. And before we'd met this wonderful person right here, who when we revisited the idea under his leadership, he's very organized and been a part of the community for a long time. And he helped us actually finally get it off the ground. But really, it was just, you know, 4 buddies that were trying to throw a music festival and bring some music to Southland Drive.
And you did just that. Seth, tell us a little bit about how you find these local artists.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just friends with most of the artists.
Yeah.
We're really
No, like obviously.
I mean, well, that worked for a couple of years, you know.
Started had to like look
Yeah.
for more.
But that's the birth of it, you know. Lexington is not a giant city. It's a close-knit community, but there's a lot of different musicians and genres and styles. And I came to Lexington. I didn't know anyone when I moved here, and I met everybody that I know through playing music. So I went to UK. I played cello with the orchestra there, and I moved on from the orchestra in UK and started playing cello in these like kind of non-traditional ways, playing on people's albums or joining them on stage, and loved what was going on, and we just looked for a way to really get together and celebrate that, and that's what Tahlsound started out as.
I mean, I think you all are doing it. One of the things that you mentioned is like the different genres. I think a lot of times when people think of Kentucky, rightfully so, Americana, bluegrass, but like what you all have been able to cultivate is so much more than that. I mean, you even do a reggae fest.
Yeah.
How important is it to really highlight the diversity of the music scene here in Lexington?
Well, that was one of the big inspirations, you know. Well, really a big inspiration for us was the Southland Jamboree, which was a bluegrass exclusively performance that went on right by the bowling alley. When they moved off Southland Drive, it was kind of an impetus to do it, but we realized that there's a whole lot more going on in even the central Kentucky region than just that bluegrass music. And that was the whole concept, was that first year we were doing these 30-minute sets. And, you know, it's like, if you don't like what you're listening to right this second, just wait a minute, like go get something to drink, go use the bathroom and come back, because we really tried to hit the diversity that the area has to offer. And those first several years we were doing exclusively local music, and we had everything from, you know, to rock to like, I mean, just all of these different genres to bring to the community, so that there was something a little bit different for everybody.
Yeah. How does it feel to give these artists a platform? Because we all know, like, you hear the starving artist, but I feel like art is within everything. But sometimes being in Lexington, people feel like they have to move out and they're not going to be given opportunities, but you all are giving people. So how have the artists responded to that? And what are you all doing to stay cultivating that relationship?
Yeah, that's a great question, because beyond the actual events that Tahlsound does, we try to act as almost like a mentor to some of the artists here in Lexington and connect them with the resources that they need to grow their audience. And we try to grow the appreciation for genres like reggae music, like Cajun music, that you might not necessarily think of here, through connections with local media, the radio stations, just like how to approach a gig. Like, how do you come into a festival? Like, you need a stage plot, and you need like good communication, and you got to have some t-shirts to sell, and all those things there.
Well, and like building on the concept where we started exclusively local, we realized that one of the best things we could do mentor wise was to get some of these regional and national acts and then bring them in as a headliner and then pair them with these local folks so that, they get to say on their resume, I got to play with Whiny Mystic, I got to play with Sonora May, I got to play with, these lists, so that we get to celebrate the local and expand into like the outer regions of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that Tahlsound is bigger than just a festival, especially a lot of times. I mean, you see so many talented people, but like learning the business, learning how important audio is at a festival. And when it comes to these festivals, how has the community responded? First of all, I have to give you both a shout out. We're in Winchell's right now, and I walked in, I dropped your name, right? And I mean, they rolled out the red carpet. So now I know when I'm in the Southland neighborhood, I just dropped both of your names and I'm going to be taken care of. But it also speaks to how this Southland community and neighborhood have embraced you. So how has that been, and how have you been able to do it? Because it does feel like a family when speaking to these people.
I mean, that was the inspiration for it at the very beginning. It is such a neighborhood. Like that was already built in. We were just taking advantage of the fact that like this is such a tight-knit community to begin with. And when you combine that with the music community locally, and it really just kind of did itself,
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of different businesses along Southland Drive. This is bigger than just music,
Yeah.
It is like the restaurant scene and the grocery scene. You go to these different places and you see the musicians that play at Tahlsound at those places. We're all working together, living together anyway. This is just a way to have a big party and celebrate what's already here.
Yeah, so we're doing food, of course, with food trucks and everything. I mean, beverages, and of course, like, we always celebrate some visual artists, some craft artists as well to bring. I mean, everybody just wants to have a party. I think it's the best way. You just nailed it.
Yeah, you're literally being able to bring people to a neighborhood. So like, not only are they supporting the vendors and the visual artists that participate, but also the local businesses around here.
Yeah.
When we talk about how the music scene is just growing and developing, especially in Lexington, how have you seen it change over the past decade, and where do you hope for it to go?
Yeah, I mean, over the past decade, like it's skyrocketed. Like the national focus on Lexington and Kentucky as a whole, with main focus on songwriters and such, like has been astronomical. And I hope in the future, that lens widens to beyond the songwriters, to where it showcases reggae music, and it showcases Cajun music, and it showcases everything that's happening, here in Lexington. Lots of different great artists are call Lexington home.
Well, in the surrounding area too, when there's not a whole lot of big cities, in Kentucky, and so I think that we're starting to become kind of a hub for like these surrounding counties. Like it used to be, you'd have to go to Nashville, or like you'd have to go up to Chicago or whatever. But I think that people are finding success and going to like, we can come from. Where are you from again?
Western Kentucky.
But where's
Paducah?
Yeah, Colorado.
Yeah, my family's from Muhlenberg County, so they were just playing. What's that song that mentioned Muhlenberg?
Take
County?
Back to Muhlenberg County. Yeah. No, John Prine. That's right. Yeah. But like, it's cool that Lexington, I think, is kind of becoming one of those like centralized locations. So you're not having to go, states and states away. You're going counties away.
Yeah. One of the pros and cons when we talk about even positioning music within tourism, it's like Lexington is just this melting pot of all of these genres. And I like to see local music, and people are doing really cool experimental things that are kind of transcending across genres. But if you had to describe the local music scene in Lexington, how would you?
What day of the week and what venue?
I know, right?
I mean, that's one of the coolest parts.
I'm really asking to help.
Yeah.
How do we market? Because it's so cool. Like, it's different venues do different things. I mean, you could experience everything from hip hop to R&B to bluegrass, really all to rock, all within a day, depending on what venue.
Well, not to sound too pandering, but by soundbite, one of the easiest ways would be to go to Visit Lex, so you can see what's going on. Because but really, it's true that like there are so many different venues, and there's so many different like groups that are trying to organize specific genres or something that's a little bit more broad. I think one of the big things that we want to like really like, well, like he's saying, songwriting and bluegrass and stuff is still very celebrated here. There's so many people that are doing so many different things, and it just depends on which spot you go to on what day of the week. Visit Lex is a great resource.
Great resource for all that. We're just got these resources together, so bear with us. But when we talk about art, music is art, and it makes you feel something, right? What role has music played in both of your lives and shaped who you are today? I know it's like a very
Yeah.
deep question, but I think
An
it's
hour and a half.
I mean, I'll go back to what I said earlier, where just like music is community, and like that is how I found my place here in Lexington. It's through the music. So I'm very appreciative of that, and it continues to introduce me to new people every day. And then I'm super fulfilled when I'm able to introduce other people. You know, when the drummer for the reggae band ends up like sitting in with the rock group or the bluegrass group, and that, you know, Lexington exists at a very unique point in that it's big enough to have all these genres, but it's small enough where they can all talk to each other.
Yeah, it's a village and a city at the same time.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's the ensemble is what it's all about. I think it's the coolest part, and it's been the funnest part about Tahlsound too.
Yeah.
Is seeing different performers come back in different formats, you know, and the concept of like, oh wait, like when did you guys start playing music together? And it's like, oh dude, we met at that Tahlsound, you know, like that's the coolest part. But to answer the original question, he did a really good job, so it's tough. Mostly because I kind of want to rip off his answer.
It's okay. We can share answers.
Is that it's the community that it builds.
Yeah.
I mean, I got my start artistically in theater, and so that's an ensemble based art.
Yeah.
And so transitioning to music really made sense to me because of the ensemble aspect of it. In theater, you know, you might get in the cast for a little bit, and then like the next show you're with some completely different people, but you're going to see a lot of the same faces. And I didn't really think that music would be that way, but it absolutely is. It's brought me some of my closest friends, and I'm eternally thankful for that.
Besties. But when we're just talking about Tahlsound growing, where do you all hope to be within the next 5 to 10 years, and how can we support you in doing that and reaching those goals?
Showing up is one of the best ways. Buying a t-shirt always helps.
Buy merch.
Just supporting your local musicians merch as well. But being a donation-based event, that's the biggest thing. We want to stay accessible to everyone. And the more people that come and reach out of their hearts to help us continue doing what we're doing, we hope to continue to do more. Not just events in the field. You know, we're reaching out with working things like the Southland Street Fair, with the Lexington Farmers Market. We do a lot on Southland Drive, but we are also happy to reach out beyond that. So the more support that we get, all that we want to do is just keep doing more fun things with more people and more places.
Yeah.
And giving opportunities to musicians that are here. You know, the way that things filter down, there are more businesses and more people coming to Lexington, and they want to consume art and culture. So just connecting the right people so they know where to go. If there's opportunities that come up for musicians, for recordings or otherwise, we have a huge roster of people that live right here that have played our event and are doing great stuff.
Yeah, you kind of indirectly have become like a hub for if I meet a local artist or if you have any suggestions. Is that something that you envisioned being, or was it just, hey, we want to put on a festival with really awesome local music and some regional talent?
I think it came as a byproduct of the pandemic.
Yeah.
And we switched to some live stream shows, and we built up the infrastructure to do photography and video and an online archive. And then we moved back to having fully open shows, but we still had that infrastructure. And we're like, wow, this is a great resource. Let's keep it going.
No, I love that you are embodying just not only platforming, but really the education behind it, and your passion speaks volumes. What can we expect, like, 2025? Obviously, Tahlsound is returning. Are we about Reggae Fest, Bayou? Like, what?
Reggae Fest
we don't know everything yet.
I mean, while, I'm not trying to date the actual recording, we're still in the post last festival, early planning stages for the next one. And also, I don't know how many things he's going to get mad at me for saying that's already announced. But
let's put some stuff out there.
Let's put some stuff out there. Yeah. Reggae Fest will absolutely be there.
Yeah. I mean, Tahlsound has grown into doing these sort of 4 showcase events that really highlight these different genres. We have the Reggae Fest in July. In August, we've created this year this From the Bite to the Bluegrass that showcases Cajun and Louisiana music. We worked with the Southland Jamboree to do their kickoff show in May, so bringing great bluegrass music to the bluegrass. And then in April, we've had a pattern of showcasing those songwriters here in Lexington and Central Kentucky, but really focusing on female artists.
I was just say female artists.
Awesome. I love that. Not only just because I'm a female, but like you're
probably a
thinking
tier.
about different aspects of the community. And to wrap it up, for those people that are like music in Lexington, like what's going on? What would you say to those people to get them to come here?
Oh man, that if you have any misconception about the fact that there's not tons of music that not only represents the city but the surrounding area, then just come on down and hang out. There's so many great venues you can come check out, or specifically, come to a Tahlsound for May Moments of Fabric. Because yeah, no, there's so much going on here, and I think that one of the things that doing something like this really helps is spreading the word outside of Lexington. Because you might be in Lexington and know like, oh yeah, plenty going on.
Yeah.
Let's spread the word outside, not just throughout the state, but the rest of the nation.
Yeah.
I think is important so people know that there's lots of stuff going on.
Yes. Well, thank y'all. Thank you so much.
Right.
Shaking my breast, scaring my heart like a forgery.